Back in Lagos, the state government has now published the Social Protection Policy Handbook that focuses on poverty, literacy, inequality, amongst others. This is following the approval of the state social protection policy by the State Executive Council in August 2020. Iniola Pukwola reports.
Nigeria's poverty rate stands at 40.1%, while the country's unemployment rate at 33.3%. Also, over 76 million Nigerian adults are illiterate. With the increasing population in Nigeria, these figures are expected to double. But the Lagos state government has adopted the social protection policy through the federal government to assist in addressing the core social and economic issues.
The policy aims to create an all-inclusive and comprehensive method of addressing socio-economic vulnerabilities to poverty and deprivation at all levels in our society.
In partnership with the United Nations International Children Emergency Fund, the policies contained in this handbook aims at promoting inclusive growth, equality, security, as well as ensuring a life of dignity for residents of Lagos.
The Lagos State, in addition to what it's currently doing, is going to provide free school meals to pupils in public primary school. There's a provision for all children and adults living with disabilities.
A fully developed and well-generated single social register will afford that man on the street, that man in the corner of his own community, way out there in Ibejuleki or in Badagry, will also be able to have access to government intervention.
Social protection is seen as a fundamental human right which every individual should obtain.
If all the provisions of this program are implemented, there are chances of shaping all the social vices into positive things in the country.
With the hashtag Ambition 2030 of the 2015 Sustainable Development Goals, this intervention from the state government will allow a steady progress in ensuring the rights of all citizens are well secured and protected. Iniola Pukwola, TVC News, Lagos.
The federal government has warned licensed lottery companies in the country to pay their outstanding liabilities or risk revocation of their licenses. The Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Senator George Akume, spoke at the official launch of the Back to School Jumpstart project in Lagos. The project, with theme No School Left Behind in Surulere, was organized by the Office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives in collaboration with the National Lottery Trust Fund. We have details in this report.
Presently, statistics put the number of deaths from the COVID-19 pandemic to more than 6 million. But statistics are scarce regarding how many children have dropped out of school due to the pandemic, especially in developing economies like Nigeria. Hence, the launch of the Jumpstart project in Lagos by the National Lottery Fund in collaboration with the Office of the Speaker, House of Representatives. The project aims to digitize teaching and learning process as well as inculcate the culture of basic hygiene in schools across the country.
They enable government to equip public schools with e-learning facilities that are to be launched in due course. To learn that over 40 junior and secondary schools in Surulere Federal Constituency will benefit from this intervention in the first phase of the program is heartwarming and commendable.
Experts believe the program will help to improve capacity of schools in the area of good hygienic practice through provision of basic sanitary materials and standard teaching and learning aids.
Decision by the federal government to establish the National Lottery Trust Fund is indicative of a government that recognizes the importance of lottery and gaming as a vehicle for enhancing the social well-being of its citizenry through investments in its various lottery good cause intervention projects.
Urge all licensees and permit holders to, without further delay, pay off their outstanding liabilities or risk revocation of their licenses and permits.
For the Speaker, House of Representatives represented at this occasion, government is committed to building better and stronger education system which will be resistant to eventualities of the new normal.
It's designed to mitigate the disadvantage caused by the lack of digital infrastructure in our public schools, as well as ensure that there are no breaks in teaching and learning in the event of future pandemics.
The agency also inaugurated vital medical equipment donated to Bajarandul Hospital, Mother and Care General Hospital to consolidate on other equipment earlier donated to Onikon Healthcare Center a few months ago. Ademola Lawrence, TVC News, Lagos.
The International Women's Day was officially marked on 8th March, but we're still celebrating the achievements of women and their contributions to our nation's growth and development. We're also taking a closer look at the gains achieved by women and girls while assessing actions toward gender equality. According to this year's theme, Break the Bias, the question is, what are the steps that now must be taken to move away from a world of bias and discrimination towards a world that is diverse, equitable and inclusive for women? Let's talk now to a gender human rights advocate, Dr. Bilkisu Magoro, who joins us live from New York. She's at the ongoing 66th session of the UN Commission on the Status of Women. Let's begin with the dynamics of conversation where you are, particularly as it relates to the theme, which seems to marry the issue of gender inequality with the global climate crisis. Dr. Magoro, if you can hear me, I'm asking that you walk us through the conversation where you are as it relates to the theme linking gender inequality with the climate crisis.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, so basically, you know, the thing for this year for the Commission on the Status of Women has basically been the effect of climate change on women and girls and how it affects them in most places all over the world, and how we can use that to actually improve the participation and placement of women. So that's what we've been working on, and discussion, and the table has been working on regards at the Commission on Status of Women. We know with International Women's Day, it's been something that it's been placed out that the theme was, breaking all biases against women, and women and other genders towards achieving, their equality. We know that, this issues of biases is what causes a lot of, with that, of course, that's what deters and creates a lot of inequality in the gender issues with girls and women.
Absolutely. The concept is such that if you invest more in women and girls, they become leaders and change makers, and then they can come up with innovative climate change solutions. But let's bring the conversation back home in Nigeria. How do you bridge the gap between the kind of leadership positions available for women, and how do they get the voice to be able to make their own impact? For instance, women have been picketing the National Assembly for days now. I believe you're following the issue that has to do with the gender bills that didn't make it through at the National Assembly.
Well, a lot of these issues, I think, I believe is that back at home, we have to have an understanding what really we mean by, the gender equality with women. We have to actually get ourselves a lot of key pushes that will be in support, because it's been mostly women have been advocating for this. And if we go through the National Assembly and what happened recently, we realize that, it really didn't go through, none of the bills actually went through. And majority of the people in the National Assembly we know are male. So I think we need to be able to advocate more to the males to actually understand what we mean by, the gender equalities where we want, every foot and everybody would have equal space to actually leverage on and be able to be part of the contribution in the development of Nigeria as it's meant to be. It doesn't have to be only, politically. We're talking about education. We're talking about access to farming, to food, inheritance, and the rest of them. So that's where we're all talking about that. It's not really just one bill that we're talking about that, it's, just, taking up positions, but we're talking about having, equality spread around amongst everybody in Nigeria, be you male or female, being able to, express your rights, constitutional right as a citizen. It doesn't really matter if you're male or female, but for you to have the access to these equalities are out there for everyone.
Absolutely. 2022 is the year where every nation and every industry is trying to shake off the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. And we're told that women and girls seem to have carried more of the burden. What are the prevailing thoughts as it relates to sustainability plans for women and girls post-COVID? Well, by the way, COVID-19, we are told, is still very much around.
Well, with regards to that, there's been lots of roundtable meetings, especially within the AU and ECOWAS, of the ministers of the different African. I'm talking about more of the African nations, and that includes Nigeria and all of the countries within the African nations, where the impact of the COVID has been devastating. I'll focus more in that area because that's mostly my area of interest, Africa and Nigeria, as it is. The impact has been great, and has been a large. We really cannot really express how much damage it's done. A lot have been put out, but a lot of decisions and plans have been put into place how we can overcome this setbacks, especially for women. We know in most African countries, the women are farmers, and due to the COVID and the climate change, this is actually, costs a lot with the families. The families haven't been able to do very much for themselves. So of course, lots of issues of marriages, divorces, family problems, lots of it. So we need to get back to the drawing board and actually go to the grassroots, especially with the young girls, and encourage all the family and make sure that they're being encouraged, both the girls and the women itself, as it is post-COVID. The COVID session has actually created a lot of gap within the chain of production worldwide and distribution worldwide. So it's an ongoing thing, and we're hoping that by the end of end of all the sessions, there will be a good solution that would help start up a strategy for both Africa and Nigeria as it is.
Gender and human rights advocate Dr. Bekesomagoro, thank you for talking to us tonight.
Thank you very much.